Today on Your Questions Answered, I have a question from Nick Mastros 9287. When I resharpen my hand saws, my first step is to joint the teeth from heel to toe on the top and both sides. I'm not saying it's the correct procedure, but that was the way I was taught. What are your thoughts? So I thought this was a pretty good question and not something that I've seen anywhere out in YouTube land there, so I thought it'd make a great sort of video here and to get all your inputs in on this as well. So I thought the very first thing is, for those of you that are not aware what jointing the saw teeth are, we'll jump over to the saw down here and I'll explain what jointing the teeth actually is and what it does. So first of all, jointing the saw teeth is normally done using a flat single cut mill file, or what's sometimes referred to as a bastard file. Now, you can get short files for this and little jigs that hold it. The whole idea is that you really want to be keeping this at 90 degrees to the saw plate. And you can buy little jigs, or you can just put a little hole in a block of wood and actually use that. Or you can freehand it. I tend to just freehand it because I don't find that a little bit of tipping on the top of the saw plate makes too much difference. Jointing the saw teeth is where we come in like this and we go always from the heel to the toe, because if you go the other way it's really going to catch and it's not going to be great for the teeth. So the idea is you'll bring it in flat and you'll do 1 or 2 passes. And if you've got a really bad saw like this one actually is, you might need more passes. So what that is achieving is bringing every single one of your teeth in your saw plate into the same flat alignment, which is obviously what we want when we're hand sawing. We don't really want a deeper cut in the front to the back, because that's going to throw the whole sawing action off and it's not going to be smooth and it's going to snag and all that sort of thing. So that's one of the reasons that is used. Second, and I'm not sure if you can see this on here, it's actually put a flat on the top of all these teeth. So what the flat on the top of all these teeth can do is guide you when, at least when you're first learning to sharpen, you know that that flat is on the top there and you can use that to guide your filing across there to make sure that every tooth is even. Yes, some of them will have a finer flat than others, but in the initial sharpening, you obviously just run in and you do the same pass on every one, but then you can actually sort of tune each tooth in a little bit, and that flat helps. In everyday sharpening, when I'm talking about everyday sharpening, I'm using these new style Spear & Jackson saws a lot, or other new ones like this, and I find that with these saws, I've barely had to joint them. I don't really joint them at all. Now, the reason that I feel that I don't really have to joint them with new saws is that if you've got good sharpening technique and you're using the same pressure and you're evenly sharpening every single tooth along the way, which is really not that difficult to learn in my opinion. It's a pretty basic skill to pick up and quite easy. And I do have some videos on that down below, but if you'd like a refresher video covering some of this, do let me know and we can look into doing another one on that. So, with proper even sawing technique, you don't really get some teeth higher than others. It actually stays flat all the way along. I've never actually jointed this one, so if I get a straight edge and set it on here, I can see that they're all pretty much, it's a bit hard to get this to sit here, but I can see they're all pretty much in the same alignment. There might be an ever so slight variation of 1/4 to 1/2 millimeter, but that's not enough to throw the saw out, and when I eyeball it, everything just, it looks like it's in the correct alignment, and we don't have to always go with a straight edge and measure everything. If it looks roughly right by eye, generally that is going to be fine. Jointing on the side of the saw plate, what is that achieving? Well, it's actually taking the outside edge of the sawtooth off, which in my mind is something that you do in the very last stages. If you saw the video on how I correct out of square or uneven saw set on this saw, I used it to troubleshoot with a very fine diamond paddle or diamond stone just to take the last little bit off and correct the saw set where it was out just a minuscule amount for getting it even. In my opinion, jointing the side of the tooth is a little bit counterproductive. Some of you might disagree with me, and do leave that down below because I'm eager to hear your reasoning behind doing that and what reasons you might have for that, because it might be something that I might want to integrate. But for me, it seems a little counterintuitive that you're going to joint the side of the teeth, to sharpen them, and then you're going to reset them. So you're essentially removing the set off the tooth prior to re-adding the set. And that's something that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally. I don't think that it's a good idea to remove more steel than we need to off the sawtooth, just for the risk of maybe weakening that sawtooth. So I'm eager to hear from all of you out there on YouTube land what your experience is in terms of jointing the saw teeth on the sides in particular, because I know jointing the top of the teeth is a quite common practice and is a necessary practice, which is in a lot of woodworking books going back a long way. It's in pretty much every sharpening video on YouTube. So what I really want to hear from you is about jointing the side of the teeth, and whether that's something that you've been taught that you do, and any reasonings behind why you might do that. Because if there's some great reason behind it, I'm eager to learn from you all. It's just not something that I've done, but if there is some reason behind it, or you've got some source information where it's mentioned, do leave that down below, and we can try and sort of uncover the reasoning behind this, or reasons not to, and just build a little bit of a database up for future people that might come across this question. So, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe down below. While you're down there, sound off the comments as I said, and if you want to see another great Your Questions Answered video, do check out the playlist up here, which has all the Your Questions Answered videos, and leave any new questions that you might have down below. Bye for now.